Yeah.
Today on Sparking the Fuse, I'm thrilled to welcome Bayley Ramos, the founder and CEO of Ardor Consulting, a Miami-based marketing firm she launched over a decade ago. Bayley brings more than 15 years of experience developing and executing marketing strategies for hundreds of companies, including international projects in European markets. What sets her apart is her hands-on approach. She doesn't just build campaigns, she builds long-term relationships with her clients, listening deeply to their challenges and crafting strategies that actually deliver measurable results. Beyond Ardor Consulting, Bayley teaches social media strategy at Miami-Dade College, organizes networking events in South Florida, and is a strong voice for the power of human connection and marketing. Even in an age where AI and automation are becoming mainstream, I'm excited to have you here and hear your insights on what's changing in marketing, how culture and relationships play into growth, and where businesses often get stuck when trying to scale. Bayley, welcome. So happy to have you here.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks for having me.
for sure. And, I'd like to start really with what inspired you to launch Ardor Consulting and, how has your focus evolved since 2014 when you started this till today?
Mhm. It's a lot has changed since 2014.
Yeah.
I'm older, which helps. I
And
was
wiser.
and a little wiser, a little sometimes. Yeah, for sure. I was started out. I really didn't think it would start out so young. Always knew that I wanted to do this. I went into college studying marketing, knowing that that was my passion. Finished in 3 years because I was just ready to go. I was like, let's do this. I packed in some summer classes and extra courses and study abroad so that I could get going. Did some internships. But I never imagined I could do it so soon in my 20s, which I no longer am. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not fooling anyone. I even wrote a paper in like my second year of college about what I wanted to do, which was this consulting. And then when I got out in the field, marketing was really changing in 2009. Social media was new, and it was the perfect opportunity for me to jump in. I got my first client in 2009 because I attribute it to the fact that social media came in and changed the game. So you have people with 20 years of experience in marketing, but they don't have 20 years of experience with social media in the digital world. So I was like, all right, well, if everybody else is figuring it out, I can do that too. And just kind of jumped right in.
Yeah, that's amazing too. Where, obviously, I think there's a lot of college students who go into their major, graduate, and then don't end up in anything close to it. So it's cool to hear that you made some good choices in aligning with yourself early and
Yes.
finding your thing. Now, you've worked with hundreds of companies. Like, what kinds of challenges do they usually come to you with?
Oh, so many. I mean, there's some, it's just like they don't have a firm foundation with their brand to begin with. So there's confusion there. Disorganization. There's a lot of just like we have our website, we have this, we're doing ads, but like there's no connecting link. Like there's no overall connecting link. Like, oh, I have a designer or I have a social media person, but there's just no overall plan and it's done reactive instead of proactive. They're just kind of like going along. So I think the biggest challenge is having like an overall marketing department. So you need to be a pretty big brand to have a huge department. And that's kind of what I built Ardor around is we let us be your entire market. So you don't have a full-time web developer. You don't have a full-time designer. You don't have a like a, CMO or marketing director. We're going to be all of that. So you could be a small business where you wouldn't normally have a team. And now you do have a team, to support you with all of that. So, yeah.
Is that how you set the model out when it initially started, or is kind of like fractional CMO type thing becoming more
Yeah.
of a trend?
Yeah. Definitely consulting was over always like my passion and what I really wanted to do. I wish I was smart enough and knew the future enough to say yes. But it kind of evolved. I really, even social media in the beginning, I was like, I don't really want to work in social media. It wasn't the most glamorous. It was kind of like um maybe being an influencer 5 years ago. People just like thought of it as like, like that's not gonna go anywhere. Um but I really just listened to people's needs. So I would meet with clients and listen to what their struggles were and say, okay, I can solve this. I got you. Um, you know, to them, a lot of or a lot of business professionals, marketing is, probably what me trying to do my business taxes. I don't want to deal with any of it. It's all another language to me. You can explain it to me 100 times. I just want to, file my taxes, stay compliant. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, I got this. I'll make it not scary. Let's figure it out together.
Yeah, my heart sinks anytime someone says business taxes, right?
I'm like, just do
Ah,
me right. Just do me right. Tell me what I have to do.
yes. Well, thanks for explaining that more. You had mentioned like how much things have evolved, and yeah, how you didn't set out one way and now social media came. Now, obviously another huge wave that's unavoidable for us to miss would be AI and how that's
Yes.
factoring into everything. Let's talk about some industry trends and shifts there. Like, I did see you recently shared that AI is powerful, but can't replace strategy or human connection. How do you see businesses balancing tech with personal relationships right now and going forward, I guess?
Yeah, it's super interesting. When it's first started, people were like, "Are you scared it's going to take your job?" And wait, all of that. I think it's a tool. It's a resource. I think it could be a great tool. I think depending on your business, you might be able to use it to organize some of your notes, maybe do research, just like you would go to Google and look up things and learn, things. I think it's a resource. Um, and a tool, but it's not going to replace strategy. It's going to analyze data. It's going to help you with some things, but you still have to execute it and you still have to understand the situation and put together a big strategy. I also preach all the time in a world that's going so AI and digital, people crave human connection. And that's what successful brands do. Um, when you think of a successful brand and you talk about whatever it is that you're loyal to, it's not necessarily about an ad that you saw, but more how it makes you feel, right? So in that case, you can't replace human connection and that feeling that you have towards their brand with AI.
Yeah. No, I love how you're definitely staying on the side of human connection. I think that's something that none of us want to go away. So anyone who tries to fully replace that is going to at least be viewed in the marketplace in a different way, right? But it will be interesting to see, like, what shifts are you noticing in the way companies approach branding and client acquisition now compared to a few years ago, let's say?
For the most part, branding, I do see that they're approaching it the same way. I actually will say branding is one of the most misunderstood areas of marketing. And I find that all the time, like where businesses don't understand, business owners don't, if you ask them, what is your brand? They don't really understand it and they don't get how important it is. It's the foundation of marketing. It's the roadmap. It precedes all marketing because everything that you do after that has to be built upon the brand, right? So branding, there's definitely tools that you can use for AI, and I think they'll pop certain things in there and have it develop a logo or some look and stuff like that. Um, but I think I've seen for the most part there is still a little bit of a missing the mark if it's not used correctly. Um, Again, I think it's a great tool. I think it's been, it's a time saver. I think it's a great tool for us. But if you're talking about like business acquisition, things like that, I think analyzing data is so good. You can take in all the numbers, you can project things, you can put together reports, and that's a huge tool. It's definitely
No.
useful. Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're saying is in your viewpoint, this is all good, but needs really the direction of the human connection
100%.
standpoint, so you know that it's actually going to be landing on mark
For sure.
when you put it out there. Is that right?
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, current state, like when you're talking with clients, what would you think or what do you see are the most common frustrations they express about marketing, for example?
Um, I think frustration with executing it correctly, like understanding what your ROI is and executing it the big picture. So now there's a lot of education. Um, so there are people are understanding more what they need to do. It's just getting it done, right? And leveraging your budget, making sure that you're, being intentional about it and not just like doing a bunch of things and then not really knowing what's working. So I think a big challenge is that having that big picture plan, tying it all together and executing it. It's still hard to execute it. You can plug in AI and ChatGPT and ask it to make a post on LinkedIn or a post on Facebook, but that's not, an overall marketing plan.
Right. Now, when I talk to a lot of business owners, it seems like there is a tendency for some to really put like sales and marketing like in the same bucket. And they're like, hey, I see sales, but marketing, what did that do for us? Like, what's your response to that?
Okay, so branding itself. So branding is not this to measure the success of branding, it's recognition and value, right? So if you see a logo, let's say you go down, where do you get your coffee in the morning? Let's say you go to Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you go there. It's you can see the logo from far away. You recognize it. You can see the colors and know it's that, right? It's the recognition. And then value is why you choose that over something else, right? You could have two things at the grocery store next side by side, one generic, one brand name, and you choose the brand name, even though it's can be scientifically proven they're the same thing, but you get it because maybe that's what your mom always bought, or your grandmother. So branding ultimately brings sales, but you're really looking for recognition and value, right? So I try to explain to people that, and that's a long-term approach, right? That's not going to be built overnight. Nike didn't build their brand overnight. You're not going to build yours overnight. You got to be consistent with it. And that's why you have to, really a firm foundation, because with consistency of putting out there the same message and the colors and the scheme, that's when people are going to start recognizing your brand. Um, Now, sales is going to be like an immediate, a shorter, ROI, right? And so sales, it's kind of one, two, three. That would be something like Google Ads, right? Somebody's actively looking for what you have to offer. They click on your link and then hopefully buy or whatever the sales cycle is. So I try to get people to understand the different models, and then each strategy that you do has a different objective. Some things you do are branding things. Social media, organic social media should be branding. It's a long-term approach to build and connect relationships, right? To build relationships. And you can't do that overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you're looking to build relationships, those also don't happen overnight. And I always actually used to say this in my class a lot, but like you can't be the friend um, or let's say somebody and they never ask you how you're doing. They don't ever invest in your life. But they call you every 2 months for a favor, right? That's not a friend. That's somebody that you're like, I'm so done with them. Don't call me again, right? And so that's what businesses kind of do on social media sometimes. They just like post about themselves and then they're like, here, come buy this. And I'm like, that's where the strategy has to be revamped. You need to
Mhm.
understand your market. What do they value? What do they want? What's their life like? Are you really like having an open conversation? Are you investing in them as well? Or is it just all about you? So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. It made me think a lot about past relationships and no, no.
You write down some people that you're like, block them, no more,
It also made me think about like how I hate it, but I'm loving it when I go to McDonald's with that app, man. That thing is the best
right?
app there is.
but they listen, right?
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Yeah,
They
yeah,
save time,
yeah.
make
They
your
make
life
it
a little
easy.
easier.
They make it easy to purchase, right?
Correct.
Now, like take like a different kind of client. Like I work closely with a bank, for example, and
Okay.
bank, and it's like, okay, where does the marketing budget go, and how do you tie those dollars back to
Sure.
deposits and loans in a bank, right?
Sure.
And you'll see them go ahead and do, hey, we're going to pay a huge sponsorship at a stadium, for example, so we could put our logo there. And how does that? You're saying there's a place for these things, but they all have to be kind of woven
Sure.
into a story that makes sense for the branding to either
Mhm.
get, what did you say? It was the value and the
Recognition.
recognition.
Value and
How
recognition,
do you
yeah.
how do you how do you measure value? Is it like in an organization, would you say marketing efforts need to lead eventually to handing down to sales?
I think
Like,
there needs to be a balance. I think there needs to be a
mm,
balance. I think unless you're a huge company that's already built such a strong brand, then maybe you don't need to do that so much and you can put more of it towards brand. But I think there's a balance. So I work a lot with new businesses starting out. We'll do like a kickoff where I'll help them set up everything. And so, yeah, they need sales. They can't just, oh, okay, in 3 years, I'm going to have a brand that people are going to know. No, you got to do things that are immediate ROI. And so, like you said, with a bank, I think one thing is understanding your target. I think a lot of people don't understand who their target is. And of course, everyone's your target. Good. Then segment it into a bunch of, 3, 4 different avatars and make sure you're doing something to speak to each one of those, right? So they can do a sponsorship and that's for recognition and branding. But then they should also do things that has an immediate call to action, right? For sales to actually measure that. So I think there needs to be a very healthy balance depending on where they're at in their growth and what their goals are. Now things that are like immediate is just making sure that you're in front of people when they need what you have, right? And then I go back to like, do you have something people are actively looking for? Like if you need a bank account, you're going to look for a bank, right? You need a bank account. You also might not know that this bank has different, you know, advantages versus another one. So then you can also sell people there, right? Then you have other things that are like impulse buy and people don't know that they want that. So you have to kind of teach people. They're not going to be, you could come up with something tomorrow, right? Genius
no,
thing. And then you do Google ads all day. You can spend thousands and thousands on get no one's looking for it, so they're not going to find you, right?
yeah,
So you have to
waste a lot.
understand, right? Exactly. So, depending on who your clientele is, other than branding, then understanding them. Now, depending on who your clientele is, what's their day like? Are they actively looking for you, or do they not know you exist? That kind of thing. Or maybe they don't know that you have a solution for them. So that's where you can use things like social media, where you're kind of like networking and hanging out in the same place they are and just kind of looking for the conversation to open where you can lead into, hey, did you know that we can offer this? So yeah, I think there needs to be a very healthy balance for brands between the two.
Yeah, that's such an interesting talk because, when you look at, I was watching a presentation earlier today and they were showing like business leader after business leader after business leader of, all the big, big companies with the richest people in the world. And they keep saying cash, 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 cash is king, right? Like a business needs cash. It's like oxygen to a business. But if you just try and go after cash, 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 cash as a business, then you start looking like that friend you talked about, right? Where it's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
who
And
are you
it's
to
not
me today?"
sustainable.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's. I would like to kind of get your take on like, I mean,
I had a
how you.
conversation about this today.
Oh yeah, please share it.
Um, no, it's so true. You look like that friend. You're also, let's say you're doing paid ads, you're locked into that. As soon as you stop doing those paid ads, you don't have a clientele. The clientele was built on paying Google or paying whatever paid ads you were doing. So that's why I like to have a healthy approach, because the one is like a long-term investment. The other one's sustaining the cash flow in the beginning, right?
Yes.
So you kind of need to balance it until you can maybe say, okay, summer's slow. Let's just do our branding a little bit, like without suffering, right? Or, hey, we need to kick it up. Let's put money into here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I've had people all the time, and they have they get great, lead generation on whatever it is that they're using, but they've built no brand behind it. So they're locked into that. Whatever you're paying this month to get those leads, you got to do it. And again, next month, because you haven't done anything else to build, any other, maybe client referrals or, any kind of audience on social media or whatever it may be.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you exploring that a little more with me. With that, I guess, how do you see with this more balanced approach, things like company culture, relationships you develop, networking, like you're doing, connecting to pipeline growth and business development?
Yeah. I mean, I love networking. It helps me. It helps my clients. They say it's all about who you know. So I do think, even just personally, like I need my AC repair, I'm going to call an AC guy. I think it's good for community. I like helping other people, so that helps. It depends. So,
Yeah, it so depends.
it
Oh,
depends. You also it's a lot of time. There's a lot of time that goes into that, right? So it needs to be done intentionally. So there's a balance there. And then also, do you have the president or a lead person in the company that has the time to do this, right?
yeah.
Um, Thankfully, social media makes it a little easier to network. But I mean, we've all gone to a networking event,
I just
and
went to one today, and that's why I'm
right.
laughing.
How many people just sold you? You
Yeah,
walked in, they're
all
like,
of them.
"Hey, here, I want to offer you insurance. Here's financial planning. And they're not even interested in what you do. They don't even want to listen, right? So I
Yeah,
actually have to teach my clients sometimes how to network. Just come. Be yourself. Be a human being. If you leave with
yeah,
a friend, great. If you leave and you just feel better about how you speak in public, perfect. It's a win. You're not going to get a sale today. That's
yes.
branding. You're bringing yourself. Um, and so starting out, I had to network. I wasn't born and raised in Miami. I was born and raised in Philadelphia,
Yeah,
as
there you
if
go.
you can't tell.
Coming down south. Nice.
And so I always say this and it might be insulting, but I didn't have daddy's golf buddies to throw
I
me
love
business.
it.
You
Yeah,
know, I've said it to the wrong people before, but I'm going to keep saying it. But it's
do
true.
it.
You know what I mean? Like everybody
Yeah.
knows somebody that's gotten that. And it's like, well, I love that for you. Wasn't going to be for me. I knew nobody here. So I had to network. Did I network for years? So I started in 2009, started networking years and years. I networked for years. I didn't leave every networking, any of them with a client. But after years of doing it, I get calls from people I met way back, and
Wow.
they remember you, and or they start coming to more events, and then they by the consistency of seeing that you're still out there, that you're consistent with who you are, or maybe just reaching out and maybe sending them a lead. um
Mm,
Maybe, how can
yeah.
I help you? Nobody's going to say no to how I can help you. But like, hey, Chris, how are you? Tell me about what you do. What kind of client are you looking for so I can keep an eye out? That doesn't hurt anybody. You're not promising anything, but you're just, building a genuine connection, which is what I would do for a friend of mine. So why don't, it's frustrating.
Man, yeah, you're opening a fresh wound for me because,
I'm
like I
preaching
said,
to
I
the
went
choir.
I went today to a networking event, and it'll be like you and I are having this conversation. It could go in different directions, and we're actually talking about things of substance, and then we'll be butt in by a realtor or something like, "Did you see my listing?" And
Yep.
it's like, no, and I don't care right now. And then
Right.
it's like, what do you do? And you tell them, and they'll say like, I'm gonna send you some of my people, and it's like, but you don't even know me.
Right. Like
I
we have,
hate this kind of networking.
right.
That's what
No,
turns people off to the whole thing. Like, have you
that's
ever
why I
sat in a
started
meeting and
hosting them.
oh yeah,
That's because I was like, I'm so sick of, they were also clicky. Some of them, it's like,
yeah,
oh,
that was
I'm
the one I went to
sorry.
today too.
Yeah,
They
I'm
all
like, okay, so
congregated on
that's
one table, and then you're an outsider. Do you have a seat at the
why
table?
are
No.
we here?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, I can do this. Let's just meet for drinks. Let's meet for happy
There you,
hour,
there you go.
chill. If anybody's new, let's make sure they're welcomed in. We talk to them, get to know them, make sure they're comfortable, and just create it like a smaller group. Because if a networking event could have 100 people, I'm not going to get to talk to 100 people. I mean, maybe that realtor did because they probably went to everybody and gave them their flyer, but it's just so it's quality, not quantity. And yeah, that's I kind of started doing that. And it's no organization, it's
Wow.
no fee, no
Yeah.
nothing, just hey, come hang out, and invite people, and hopefully, this helps you in any way, shape, or form.
Man, that's totally my flavor too. If I was over in like Florida, I would definitely be at that kind of event because,
Well, I'll come over there and we'll host one over
yeah,
there.
there you
And
go.
then we'll teach people how to do it.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah. No, I've been to a couple that are good, and in fact, if people get too salesy, they're like, "See ya."
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not the
I like,
vibe.
yeah, totally is not the place. So last part on kind of the current state of things. If a client tells you they feel like they're spinning their wheels in marketing, like what do you typically uncover as a root issue or some of the root issues of that?
Um, I mean, I feel a little repetitive here, but that typically comes back to not having an overall plan, not knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and understanding what each strategy, the value between each strategy. So, this is for branding, this is for, this is for measurable sales results, this is, that, how we're tracking it. Um, I think that's important. So like who we're targeting, what's a realistic goal too? Like what should we expect? Maybe they're doing great and they just had unrealistic expectations, or maybe they have a great campaign. Their target is on point and the content is just completely disconnected. Um, it could be a couple different things. Sometimes it's an easy fix. A lot of times, honestly, I think it's an easy fix, but like a lot of times it's like, oh, we just got to do this and this. It's not so scary. But 99% of the time, I think that it's that they just don't understand their plan. They don't have an overall good understanding of it. I do really believe that the clients need to partner with me. I'm not like, don't just hire me. Okay, bye, get it done. They're part of the brand. So talking to them and understanding them, they have a lot to bring to the table. I don't know everything. By asking the right questions, I understand better their business, I understand their brand, and I understand their target market and obstacles we can overcome. It could be a sales cycle that we need to shorten. What's your sales cycle like? Well, this. I'm like, okay, well, that's too long. That could be it. Um, so if they're spinning their wheels, it's a lot of things. I would say I mean, I hate to say that, but like sitting down, going through your plan, understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. Even if you don't like social media, I have clients that don't have social media. I will
Hmm.
send you our posts every month. They probably don't look, but I want you to see it because you might see something and say, hey, like this probably doesn't make sense because of this, or hey, let's tweak this. I want them to be engaged with it, and understand it because they do understand their clients and they do understand what they're going for. So by partnering with them and understanding why we're doing what we're doing, they can make it stronger.
Yeah. It was making me think about, you know, in your eyes, do you feel like most businesses start up the way you're saying, like that they just don't have that vision, they don't know who they are, they're just kind of like, let's take for example, like, hey, I'm going to sell lemonade. So I got my stand and I'm going to sell lemonade. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm at football games for the local high school and then I'm traveling around doing my fairs and stuff. At some point it's like, oh, what do I put on social media? Like, what is my brand? What are we about? Like, we've been selling lemonade. Like, what would you say to that?
It's yeah.
Is that the
A
typical
hundred.
story? And it's like, okay, Bailey, help me out. Actually make a story out of this that makes sense for everybody.
Yes. I don't think that they know that's what they need, but yes, that's pretty much
Mm,
how it is. You evolve, you figure it I mean, that's what I did. I figured it out. I'm like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. I also think they don't have the budget. I mean, you need an accountant, you need to file your taxes. You don't need a marketing professional, right? So that's also the first place that people cut back on, right? That's the mark that's the marketing, so I think, and if you have someone that's helping you, great. You might have, a niece or nephew that's like, oh, my niece is running my social media, or my assistant, or my old secretary, or whatever it may be. So I think they just kind of figure it out. They also might have a good network, or they might be doing it themselves until they realize your time is money. So you're investing money because your time may be better spent here instead of here, right? So they don't understand their ROI is going to lack because they're the ones doing it, even though they're saving money by pay somebody $1,000 a month because it's you're spending 20 hours a week. You could go home at 5 o'clock, hire someone to do your marketing, and still have extra time to do the stuff that only you can do, right? So I think it's
Yes.
just a combination of growing to a point where they can also invest in it and then be like, okay, well, where do I start? Do I hire a social media person? Do I hire an influencer? Do I revamp my website? Do I do ads on Google? It's those are nets that you're throwing out, but you're not um, building a house on a foundation of branding, You're not building
Yeah.
the business on that.
So what I kind of gathered from that is really it's kind of almost a unicorn situation where a business is founded and started on all the right marketing principles and they know exactly who they are and they go out to market like that. Like, boom, they're funded, they're good. But most people are kind of on a journey of like, okay, who are we right now? Or sometimes there's reinvention too, right? Like, who do we want to be now to the
Mhm.
market? Because
Mhm.
we didn't know who our ideal customer really was before. We were kind of shotgun approach. And now we've narrowed it down. We know who we want to be helping out, right? It also made me think about how I want to always convince my wife that I need to pay someone to do like to mow the lawn
100%.
because it's gonna look better. She's happier. I'm certainly happier. Some people find it relaxing. I
Yeah.
cringe and die at it, like
Correct.
taxes. Please do it. Please do essentially the landscaping for my company and marketing, right? Like get someone who actually knows how to do it. They're in front of it all the time and they know how to get the results that you should be getting from your marketing. Um, let's talk a little bit about future. Like where do you want to take Ardor Consulting in the next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months, whatever time frame you want? Are there areas you're particularly excited to expand?
Yeah, actually 100%. Because I'm so passionate about having a plan and businesses don't always have that luxury or that budget, we're really kind of moving towards uh, me as a consultant, fractional CMO, whatever you want to call it, and then coming in, cleaning up the marketing, really helping clients understand their target, really kind of reorganize some kind of marketing plan. And then if they want to, they can hire Ardor for services. If not, we can help, kind of clean up their marketing department and they can execute it themselves and they can call us if they have questions. So we're kind of moving towards that. It also vets us with clients that are frustrating because they're not kind of listening to the other side. So if you do hire us for social media, but you're not really understanding the other side of things, it's a little frustrating for us because it's not getting you the results that we want you to have and that you should have. So yeah, we're moving towards that where clients are going to have to go through consulting with me first. And then from there, we'll be able to either, sometimes I work with clients and I say, you need someone in house, which is a blessing. It's bittersweet because I'm proud of them. But yeah, we'll work with clients and I say, okay, you need someone in house to do your marketing now. You've grown to that point. It's more efficient that way. They might have that much of a need. So yeah, we're really moving towards the consulting project,
I love it.
giving them a plan that they can execute or work with us.
Yeah, and typically, like, what size client do you work with?
We work, we have a pretty broad. I have a client with 26 locations. I have a client that's a one-man show. It's a broad market. It really depends. I would say that my market, it's somebody who really has, it's not a band-aid for them. Marketing is something they want to invest in. They're ready. They want to partner with me to really make it successful. In the beginning, they have time to meet with me. If it's once a week for 6 weeks, we need to get a relationship going between us so that I can fully help them. I love businesses that are starting out. That's a passion just because you and I both know those struggles. And so I have a heart for that. But any kind of like they're scaling, they're ready to move to some next level, any kind of transition like that, that where they're kind of, ready to grow in any way that's really what I look for.
Oh, I love it. Now, just a fun question here. Like, what's one challenge you'd love to solve for your clients at scale? If you could wave a magic wand, what would it be?
Oh, so many. Maybe organization in a point where they can actually see what's really going on. So I want them to see all the moving parts and understand it. That's kind of like a challenge that I see with some of my clients, that they're really not getting a good picture. I want them to really see all the moving parts, and be able to see that. So
Do you say that from like a delivery standpoint as a consultant where they say, "Hey Bailey, like what is it that we're actually doing here?" You want them to see like the inner workings of that, or what do you mean by
um
that?
so yes and no, because there's so many parts of the marketing. So I would say, yeah, that's a hard one. So I think
Yeah.
understanding it, meaning like seeing that, like I think they need a picture of it, and then they need to understand each step of it. So they need to see, each piece of their marketing, including stuff that they're doing internally, and really, so like it could be internal customer service. We can do great marketing, but the people aren't getting a good experience. So somehow seeing having a really good picture, I think, is a big challenge, because they need to understand there's so many pieces of the puzzle of marketing. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could see like, especially, you have one owner who wants to be very involved and know all the steps, and others who like could care less and they're just
right?
please get it done. But being able to appease both sides of that and have a broad enough offering, right? How about within your own business with Ardor Consulting? If you could wave the magic wand internally, what would it be for
Time.
that?
I need
Yeah,
about 3 extra days a week.
buy that back.
Time, yeah. I think it's just time. There's so many things I wanna do every day, and I have to just hold back. So I think time, um, it's yeah, and we are very organized and very efficient with our time, but time is just, something that I can't create, and I wish I could. Maybe if I had like 2 quiet office days, not in meetings, that I could just kind of focus on those things. But I think because I'm in marketing, there's so many things we can do. I'm constantly, oh, I have an idea for this person. We got to do this. Oh, I have an idea, and no matter what my clients are paying me for, I'm always adding additional like ideas and things like that. That's where the consulting comes in.
Yeah, value. Yeah. Isn't it just a buzzword of the past? Like how, uh, what was it? Multitasking. You multitask. But then, like, when you actually try and multitask, it's like, dang, I was deep into something and I just got totally off kilter and now I got to go back to it.
I
Right.
know. And the more organized you are, the like that's all the time I have. Like that doesn't look right. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow's already done. Like there's no time.
It really is like
It's
that.
yeah. So
Well, Bailey, it's been such an interesting conversation with you. I just want to appreciate you for sharing the insights that you've had. I want to just put it out there, like if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
email me. I answer my emails. Bailey@ardorc.com.
Okay, perfect.
Bayley. Yep.
And I will put that in the show
Perfect.
notes as well, so they have it. Really appreciate you, Bailey. Thanks so much.